Hello, my name is Aleladia. I am a messenger and an errand runner of our Lord Jesus Christ. The topic before us today is how to strive in hard times. It is obvious that right now in Nigeria, these are hard times, these are difficult times. We are like in the days of old when men and women encountered famine. And I want us to know that we will not be the first to encounter famine, difficult times, hard times, neither are we going to be the last. So I want to show us some Bible verses that has great men and women that had hard times in their own generation so that you can have some peace. Our father Abraham in the book of Genesis chapter 26 verse 1, there was famine and it reads, and there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. There was famine in the days of Abraham. Also, according to 2 Samuel chapter 21, chapter 2 rather, verse 2 Samuel chapter 21 verse 1, as great as King David, there was also difficult times in his time. I read, then there was a famine in the days of David 3 years, year after year. You know, I'm sharing this with you. I want you to know that there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that we experience and everything that we are going to experience is not a new thing. Men and women have gone through it. And in this teaching, we are going to see how we are going to strive in the time of difficulties. In the book of 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 2, even in the time of a very great prophet Elijah, there was also famine. Let me read. And then Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria. So, this thing called hard times, difficult times, they've been. We are not going to be the first to experience it. Neither are we going to be the last. If we also look at the book of 2 Kings chapter 6 verse 25, it says, and there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass head was sold for 40 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cup of those dung for 5 pieces of silver. We thank God that our difficult times hasn't reached where we have to buy the pool of doves. But we know of a truth that these times are actually very difficult for a lot of people in my country, Nigeria. If we look at 2 Chronicles chapter 32, verse 11, there was also difficult times in the times of Hezekiah. It reads, do it not Hezekiah persuade you to give over yourselves to die by famine and by thirst? Also, in the time of Joseph, we all know the story. There was also famine. There was also famine in the time of Joseph. Genesis 47, verse 20. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them. So the land became Pharaoh's. There was famine. Also, in the days of Naomi, Ruth chapter 1, verse 1, which says, now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. So this famine has been, just walk with me. Because this famine has been, those men of old that survived it, we are going to check out how did they survive it. The next thing we'll be looking at in this teaching is the causes of famine. Causes of famine. If we look at the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 7. It says, "For nations will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and in various places there will be famine and earthquake." One of the causes of famine is that it has been prophesied. There will be famine. That's what the Bible recorded, because it is written, it is prophesied in the Bible. Another cause of famine is from the book of Second Kings, chapter 8, verse 1. It says, "Then spake Elisha unto the woman whose son he had restored to life, saying, Arise and go down and thy household and sojourn wheresoever thou canst sojourn, for the Lord has called for a famine, and it shall also come upon the land 7 years." One of the causes of famine is when the Lord is the one that sent it. When it is the Lord that sent it. And you would say, Aleladia, why would the Lord send famine? Let us see why. From the book of Hosea, chapter 2, verse 8. Why will the Lord send famine to the land? I read, "For she does not know that it was I who gave her the grain, the new wine, and the oil, and lavished on her silver and gold, which they used for Baal. Therefore, I will take my grain at harvest time, and my new wine in its season. I will also take away my wool and my flax, given to cover her nakedness." The Lord can allow famine come when you and I take him for granted. When you and I take the wealth, the resources, the riches that he has given unto us to serve other gods. When you and I take the good voice he has given unto us to sing for things that don't give him glory, the Lord could send famine to the land. Another cause of famine is when the Lord is trying to get our attention. Amos chapter 4, verse 6. "But I gave you also cleanness of teeth in all your cities, and lack of bread in your places. Yet you have not returned to me, declares the Lord." The Lord can allow famine to you when he's calling your attention. When God is tapping you, telling you something, and you are ignoring him, he could allow famine come to you like this verse we read. So we have looked at the history of famine, that we are not the first and will not be the last. And we have also seen the causes of famine. This is part 1. Part 2, on how to strive in harsh times, will continue. And then we'll be talking about the effects of famine and what to do in famine. My name remains Aleladia. Follow me through the series. Once has the Lord spoken, as far as you and I should know that God is the one that has the manual for life. Let us look at the procedures of how we should go. And I'm sure we will have peace and tranquility to strive in these difficult, trying economical times in Nigeria. I'll see you until. Bye.